might be a little bit in trouble. I don't want to die in my 50s. I was going to conquer that mountain. That's not happening. Been somewhere around 10 or 12 hours. I've got a 15-mile trek, and I'll be going up through those mountains there behind me. Actually, I'm going this way, a long ways this way first. Gonna make a loop all the way around, come up from the back of these, come all the way up to that very highest peak you see right there, and work my way back down, back here to where I'm at. Here we go, 6:30. So no phone, I'm by myself. Just me and outdoors and God, and I've hiked these mountains, hunted in these mountains for most of my life. This is very near where I live. And so I've covered a lot of this ground. Never climbed to the top of those before. There's no trails up there. It's all gonna be bushwhack, so. But I've hunted, carried a pack, carried a rifle through a lot of this area. Never 15 miles at one time though. My pack ended up weighing, with water, some food, everything total, my massive weight I have in there, right at 45 pounds. So I got 45 pounds in this pack, 15 miles. Now I carry like 30 pounds every day. I do a couple miles every day. So I've been doing that for close to a year. So I'm not just starting off from zero here, but I haven't done a long one like this. And especially with a lightweight pack. This is just a day pack. I've backpacked in the past, climbed entire mountain ranges, but I've camped. And spent multiple days doing, I think I've done up to like 28 miles, but I did it over like 3 days, and I camped all along the way. I'm used to putting in earbuds, listening to a podcast, or an audiobook, kind of addicted to having something in my ears. Not really much for music. I like it and all, but I tend to like to learn something all along the way, or at least experience some sort of story. A little more than half of this trip is gonna be on these, this is just a ranch road. So this is gonna go to several areas where there's a water tank, where the ranchers who ranch this area. There's a couple roads that split off. One goes up in those hills. They'll keep going down for, you could probably go 30 miles on these roads if you just kept going straight. I'm gonna be leaving it. I'm gonna get around to the back of those mountains. There's a stock tank that collects rain runoff water. And that's a tank that I've been going to since I was a kid. It's big enough. There's some fish in it. When I was younger, it was much larger, and there was the bass, bluegill in it. We go up there on the weekend. It takes about an hour from where I live. From where I live now is very close to where I was born and raised. Let me know if you have any ideas of where we're at. There's some mountains off there. It's probably pretty easy to guess generally, but these are trees. Here where I live, these are called trees. Now they're mesquite bushes, but My goal usually in packing is to be able to not quite carry on a conversation, keep my heart rate in the zone 2.
The scientific data tell us that we should all be getting anywhere from 150 minutes to 200 minutes per week minimum of zone 2 cardio for sake of cardiovascular health, cerebrovascular health, and a number of other aspects of health that are important essentially to everybody for health span and lifespan.
Sometimes bumping up into zone 3 as I climb hills. Now this looks flat, but I'm gradually climbing some slope right now. A good chance we'll see some deer. Very likely some quail. I'm gonna take a route with a little detour up to a mine. Used to be some gold mining done here a long time ago. Used to be related to the family that ran this ranch and had all this BLM lease land for ranching. And then they had gold claims in different areas up here. In fact, we're beside the one mine I'm going to take you to on the way back down. When I come back down from there, there's another mine over there. That'll be one of our last stops this afternoon. Hopefully this afternoon. Hopefully it won't be evening. It's pretty rugged up top there. As long as I stay on the top of the ridges, that'll be pretty decent going. The hard thing about, we'll see it here after a while. See this? See that right there at the bottom? This plant here is cat claw. And this is nasty. It's hard to tell it, but it's covered with little tiny, looks like cat claw size claws. And you go ripping through, there's places where that is so thick, you have to push through it. And it just eats you up. I'm sure I'm not wearing long sleeves today. It's supposed to be warm too. I think it was 66 degrees when I left out. Oh, look at that. That there is that's javelina. Yeah, there's a javelina skull. We got lots of javelina here. They're pests. Just the other night at my house, we had about 3 little piglets, about tall as my hand, and then about 7 or 8 adults. See, we have trees. Just not lots of them. A lot of times they're still mesquite, but they just grow taller because they're at the bottom here where there's a lot more water. Sometimes if we get good monsoon seasons, not like this one, this one's been terrible. This grass here, Johnson grass, it'll be up to my belly. And I'm 6'3", so it'll easily be 3 to 4 foot tall. It's kind of a little scary too, because you go wading through it, around it, you can't see the ground very well. And we do have rattlesnakes. Don't know if we'll see one today, but it's likely. So I made it to this, there's a water tank here, a well, there's the tank, there's a windmill. Although windmill's not being used anymore, it's all solar. But I just put my pack down, stretched, and then a hummingbird flew up to right there, and then he flew right at me, flew up to me, flew up by my head, and I'm just starting to turn the camera on I almost caught a hummingbird just right here next to my head. That's kind of crazy, huh? So yeah, I'm right about the 2-mile mark right now. And this is a water tank feeder, or not a feeder, but a water for cattle. They put salt licks out here. So yeah, 45 pounds is a lot. I haven't carried this much weight in a very long time. I carry, oh, look at these big old toads. Can you see them in there? Look how big they are. Huge. Crazy. There's more of them over there. They're all over the place. I was thinking I'd see some deer coming up here. It's morning. Although they usually come in for water more like around sunup. It's more typical, so I probably missed them coming in for water, but we'll see some other wildlife. Hopefully I can pull the camera out and shoot them, video them, that is, in time. All right, well, 2 miles, 45 pounds, only 13 more miles to go, and most of that is up there in those mountains, or it's going uphill to them, so this is all the easy part. Today is a very memorable day for me for a completely different reason. I'll share a little bit more about that. Today's the day, or later I'll tell you the story, but today's the day my dad died. 4 years ago today, my dad died. I spent every day with him for the last about 2 years of his life. Every day, changed what I was doing for work, made sure I could stay close to him, and today's the day he died. I know I had a lot of stuff happen leading up to that really changed me. So where do you think I'm at? Southwestern United States, 66 degrees, roughly. That was about 6 a.m. And then we're supposed to hit a high of 92 here today. So yeah, I'm gonna be up on top of that mountain when it's freaking 92 degrees. We'll see how well that's gonna go. But this is what happens in the Southwest deserts. Cold at night and hot as heck in the daytime. So yeah, comments, let me know. Give me your guesses. Let's see if anyone can guess. Give me exact locations too. Well, I am like 3 miles. The last mile though was all uphill, maybe 3/4 of a mile. I got up to this mine, old location. Behind me here is the remnants of an old house that they had built a long time ago. Oh my goodness, I'm already tired. I'm only 3 miles into 15. Whew, I don't know. See how this goes, but all right. So here's this old house that this family, several generations of family that used to ranch in this area. They built this and they'd come and live up here for extended amount of time, and they would mine for gold. So this was all a gold mine up here. And it's been a long time since I've been up here, but I think over here is where one of the mines is at. I know there's some up there quite a ways. It may be up there a long ways, but I may not go all the way up there. This is just where the cabin is at. I'm gonna walk down here just to see. I don't remember if it's right here or not. It's been years since I'd been up to here. I'm thinking it's on up quite a ways. I remember when I was pretty young, in my early teens, there's several mines. So they're vertical shafts, and then sometimes there's horizontal shafts. They dig straight down. Look up there. Can you see that? Way up there is some mine. But there's one of them over here somewhere. When I was a kid, I don't know, early teens and up here, I found a box back inside of one of those mine shafts. Opened up the top, there was 2 sticks of old dynamite sitting inside that box. And I knew well enough not to touch old dynamite. My dad was a contractor his entire life. In his early days, he worked for another company. They put in restrooms and sewer treatment facilities up on and parks up in mountains, up in even up at the Grand Canyon. He built, or was part of the crew that built all the restrooms and sewer treatment on the north rim of the Grand Canyon. But he had told me lots of stories about blowing stuff up, dynamite, and how it was very volatile when it was old and sitting around for a long time, and warned me that if I ever seen any, don't touch it. So luckily I didn't. Left it in there, went back home, told my dad it was up there. He told it was still that same family that owned this ranch or operated the ranch up here at the time. He told them, and I assumed they came and disposed of it somehow. But I just came from all the way down there in the valley. That's where I was at, where that wash is at. Quite a little hike up here, roughly 3/4 of a mile. As I'm climbing up here, I'm looking. So not this mountain. This isn't the one I was planning to come back on. No, that's not right. That one right there. Okay. That doesn't look as high, but that's the tallest, that's the highest peak. From where we're at here, that's just closer. I'm looking at that, and I got to come around that knob and get down, to come down this side. The side you can see is the side I got to come down to get back to where my truck's at. I don't know if I can get around all that rock. That's pretty sheer, rocky stuff. Even if I feel like I can make it, I don't know if I can get around that. And on up, further to up here, if I was to come down before that, that's steep. Looking at that on Google Maps, I mean, it's like this steep. It's a very, very steep ridge right up there. And it's rocky all the way at the top. So, man, never attempted this, never even been up there. I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. But now I'm looking up there, I'm like, wow, if I get all the way up there and I can't get off of that, I might be a little bit in trouble, because that's going to be late in the day. It could be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock if something doesn't go well. So we'll see. So as rough as this hike was up this valley here, up to this old mining shack, man, I was beat. I carry about 30 pounds every day when I hike, and I do 1 or 2 miles every day. I either do 1 loop or 2 loops on my own property. So we'll see. I'm going to go stick with the roads and go all the way up to that water tank. And then when I get up to the water tank, that's when I have to decide if I'm going, because then there's no more road, there's no more trail. It's all off cross country from that point on. And it's cross country over these mountains. So we'll see. I got to be able to make it back. I don't have anybody coming to get me. It is nice just to sit, listen to the bugs fly by and the birds. People talk about doing a mastogi. What's it called? It's a Japanese cleansing, soul-finding trip. Is that what it is? Mastogi. No, this doesn't sound right. Masogi? Maybe it's got Q's in it. Maskoi. I don't know. Some Japanese word, right? So I guess the modern interpretation is to do something tough enough that there's a 50-50 chance that you'll even make it or not. I didn't think that would be this. I thought, yeah, there's no problem, no question. You do 15 miles. I can bushwhack for half of that. I'm strong. I've been rucking every day for close to a year. I missed a few days here and there. When you get out and you start doing stuff, you start thinking more, of course. And I'm like, heck, I don't know. Can I do this? Even though I'm pretty fit, I'm still old. So my joints hurt. Not that old. I'm 52, but you think about it a lot more as you get older. Once you hit about 40, it seems like that's when my eyes started going. I needed readers. I got glasses here in my bag, but I don't need them to see everywhere. So I just have to have them with me all the time so I can see everything from this. I have to pull these things out so I can see my phone. It's crazy. I usually hang them from my shirt, but I don't want to risk losing them. So I got them in a little waist bag here. Got a bag here to carry my camera in. Might as well put my glasses in there too. 45 pounds. It doesn't sound like a lot of weight, does it? 45 pounds. I carry 30 every day, but I only do 2 miles. And I go up and down. I got a little route that takes me down through an old gravel pit. So it's kind of a hike, and I have some sand at the bottom, so it's a little tough. It's not just walking flat, but I'd heard about rucking quite a long time ago, and I've backpacked, carried weight, been a contractor a good portion of my life. I'm used to carrying heavy stuff, but man, when you start getting older, you start caring more about it. You're like, holy crap, I guess I should start working out. Being a contractor, I never really worried about working out because I was tired every day. Climbing ladders, carrying stuff on roofs, crawling through attics. And I didn't come home and do a workout. I didn't get up early in the morning and work out. I also didn't eat well. I'll have to post up a picture I found not long ago. I'm 52, I'm 6'3". I currently weigh about 180 pounds. I found a picture not too long ago of me about almost 20 years ago, but I was 280 pounds. And which I carried it well, I guess, because I'm 6'3", but still, it's huge. But I was working at a telephone company. I was a network administrator. And I sat at a desk most days and pounded on a keyboard. I'd get out and go to remote offices and do work in their central offices, COs. But for the most part, I sat at a desk. And my desk was right next to the break room. And it was always somebody's birthday. Somebody just decided to bake because, there was lots of ladies there and they baked fantastic foods. And I ate all the time. Not enough exercise, and I finally left there. I worked 10 years there. And I gotta leave. I can't keep doing this. I grew up working with my dad as a contractor. That's what he did his whole life, pretty much. And from a kid, I was on job sites and doing work. Went to work at a telephone company because I thought that my dad was gonna he needed to retire. And I thought he was just going to keep going as long as I was there and working with him. So I decided, you know what, I was already a computer nerd on the side. I applied for it. Oh, let's hear some noise. Let's see what's over here. Probably a rat or something. Could be something else. Let me see here. See something moving there. Don't want to get surprised by some critter. Could be a raccoon. Hopefully not a skunk. Don't smell any skunk around, but just don't want to get surprised by some. There are other things here. We do have mountain lion, and we got bobcat. Make sure this isn't one of those videos that ends up showing a guy getting eaten alive by a mountain lion while he was out hiking. Of course, I carry a gun. I've carried a gun most of my life when I could, where I could. So I don't ever go out like this. I don't hunt without a pistol, even though I got a rifle maybe with me. I always carry something with me. So, but anyways, yeah, I just start thinking about being old. So you think about needing to exercise, pushing yourself to do it, not eating bad. That was one of my worst things. Is I ate just anything I wanted. I love baked stuff. My wife was a fantastic baker, cook in general, but man, she'd make cakes and she just loved doing it because it was art for her. You know, she'd make these multi-tiered cakes with piped flowers and trays of cinnamon rolls. And fantastic. Oh my gosh, it's good. That's my weakness. Sugar. Since I was a kid, probably I blame my parents. I got pictures somewhere of my mom set me down in a high chair and giving me ding dongs. I think ding dongs are still around. When I was a kid, that was in early 70s. Ding dongs. And I just had my face covered in chocolate and white cream from ding dongs. Loved them. Loved sugar, loved sweets my whole life. But maybe it was just in my blood. Maybe it wasn't because of that, but I'm going to say that's it. So you got to work out. You got to move. And if you want to live past some of the, I'm 52 and I've had people that I went to high school with already die. Heart attacks, aneurysms, not even car accidents or something, just literally dropped over dead. Same age as me, even a little younger than me. Guys that I thought were maybe even healthy, but I know they drank. So I stopped drinking years ago, no alcohol. Love the taste of it. Every once in a while I'll still get a non-alcoholic beer. Just gives me that little bit of a taste, but pretty much I'm mostly water with some electrolyte in it, and filtered, reverse osmosis, distilled. I add some Baja Gold sea salt in it, and just drink lots of water. Supplements, holy cow. I take three fistfuls of pills, take a bunch of powders. It's all stuff we need to have. It's all essential stuff. You just don't think about it until you get older, and you're like, things are starting to wear down. I don't feel as good. I don't move as good. And then you need to change. And if you're watching this and you're still younger, man, if you're 30, holy cow. Of course, it's hard to tell. I couldn't have told me at 30 that I needed to eat better and take supplements and work out and hike and carry weight. But I think it's a little easier now. I think because of YouTube and social media, everybody knows. I mean, it's so much more out there, right? So I think younger and younger people are starting to do that. They're thinking of their own longevity and want to live longer. And I don't want to die in my 50s or 60s or 70s. And heck, don't really even want to die in my 80s. So I think rucking's a good way to do it too. I carry a pack. For years, I carried a piece of like a 25-pound Olympic-sized plate. I put that in there. It's pretty compact and heavy. But really needing a lot of weight on there. And you've probably seen the thumbnail. I got a cinder block. A cinder block weighs 33 pounds. So I had a motorcycle. I did an enduro, a KTM enduro, and we do lots of trails and backcountry stuff and that, and no service. So I had one of those, a Garmin InReach, and same thing. You paid for it. It was $150 device, and then I paid 20 or 30 bucks a month. It wasn't cheap. Cool thing about it is all I had to do is, if you wrecked, all I had to do is get to it and smash and hold the button on it, and it would automatically send a rescue request. They'd locate you right there to it. So if you incapacitated, you didn't have to worry about texting or anything. But I gave that up. I sold that bike a while back. Bike was like a lot of other things. I'm like, it was too risky. I can't spend my time riding this motorcycle on these backcountry routes and worry about wrecking and then done. That's it, life's over. Either that or you break a leg or break your back. Guy that's just a year younger than me, he stepped off of his bike. Didn't wreck it, literally stepped off of it on a hillside because he was lost balance or something, just needed to stop. Stepped wrong. Blew out his knee. He was riding gear, riding boots, everything, but blew out his knee. That's now like somewhere around 2 years ago. He still has a cane. He's went through multiple surgeries, and he's not going to get out here. He can't come and ruck and hike anymore. Like, he's done. He's done. So you get older and man, things just don't work as well. And he was an athletic guy too. So, but motorcycle's too dangerous. So I sold it. Sold all my stuff, all my gear. Sold that InReach. Didn't have any reason to keep that anymore. So, all right. Well, I don't have a ton of battery in this thing, so I better let you go. At about 4 mile mark now. I did take a little bit different route. There's this drinker here that the rancher put in. I seen the rancher. He came up when I was at that old mine house. He came up there and I visited with him for a little while, and they put this new drinker in. So I kind of just came across a couple ravines over here following the path that they just put in the water line to this. So it made it a little easier. My original plan was to go back down to the very bottom and then follow the road back on around. So it cut a little bit off my total path. I'm gonna have to bushwhack now across this, and I'll show you what I'm gonna have to go through some cat claw and these big long blade things here that's called Spanish dagger. Those are Spanish daggers. They're pretty flexible. Spanish dagger, and then there's also maybe some yucca in there too. More cat claw, that's what this junk is here, nasty stuff. So, but the cattle, they do beat a pathway to the water, so it helps. So this is a little bit of a cattle path. I'm gonna follow it down. You can see off there in the distance, maybe, see that road? That's the road I'm gonna catch going that way. That road follows those power transmission lines all the way back down out of these mountains. But I'm gonna follow those. Hopefully there's a little bit of a ravine here. Hopefully it's not too steep, but if I keep following this cow track, the cows probably have a good way of going through that ravine. Although they can go up some pretty steep stuff. They're not mountain goats, but you'd be surprised. These cows that have all been raised in these mountains, they can go over some gnarly stuff. And they don't care about the cat claw. It doesn't bother them at all. They just push right through it. There's this little ravine coming up. Let's see. I'm gonna go down through it. Yeah, see, they made a good path here. That's good. I just gotta not get tripped up here and fall down. Yeah, pretty good path. A little bit of cat claw. Oh, look, those are standing out real nice and bright there. Let's see, can you see those? Nasty suckers, man, those things are vicious. They can tear you up. In fact, I've already got a few hits on one arm here. Now I could go going down this wash, hit the road, but I'm not. I'm gonna go ahead and stay up here at this altitude. Hate to have to go downhill and then have to turn around and go right back up it again. Trying to make this distance, but I'm not trying to kill myself doing it. I started getting a little warmer. Had to pull out my hat and put on though. Sun's starting to beat down a bit. Man, carrying 45 pounds. I remember, it's hard to believe, I weighed 100 pounds more than I do now. That means I carried around 100 pounds more weight every day. And then I throw on a backpack with 45, and it's like, it feels like it's 200. But at least there's some breeze, that helps. Still cool and I'm sweating a bit, so. Absolutely can't wear lightweight pants in this stuff. It just goes right through them. Heck, even plain old blue jeans don't even stop a lot of this. It just goes right through them. And you can see that's just from barely touching. There was one there, my elbow, there was a bunch on there earlier. The bad thing is later on, tonight or tomorrow, I'll find little tiny specks of black. It's the very tips of those cat claws. They often break off. And so you gotta dig all those out. Okay, I've gotten into a little patch of prickly pear. It grows in patches where there's quite a bit and then not much. There's some bigger bushes here. And you can see this one has some berries on it, but they're getting eaten up. Birds get them. If they're low enough, the javelina will get them. So if you heard of prickly pear jelly, then that's what prickly pear jelly is made from. Now don't ever go and just grab one of those and take it off, because the whole surface is covered with these little tiny microscopic size needles. And you can grab a hold of these here in the middle. There's no needles, nothing there, but don't grab anywhere on that. My mom used to make jelly. We go out with just tongs, pull them off with tongs and put them in a bucket. We'd go collect hundreds of them, and then she would cook them down and make prickly pear jelly. Okay, so here's a new one for you. Here's another tree. What is this thing called? Any guesses? What is this tree? No thorns. Looks like it's an evergreen of some kind. Even if you guys got any guesses, what would you call this? It's got this unusual trunk. It splits to several pieces. What do you think? Looks like a gigantic bonsai. It's a bonsai tree, bonsai bush. So there's actually 2 power lines. Just in the less than a year, a brand new power line just went through here. Unfortunately, there's not a road that runs the whole route, because through that canyon, they go full airborne with no road in between them. So I can't just hop on that brand new road they made and take me over. I gotta go all the way over to the far road, the old power line road, and I gotta climb that one all the way up. Pretty tired, but carry on. Just gonna keep moving. Once I hit my halfway mark, maybe around noon, 1, I'll have to make the decision if which way I'm going, whether I'm gonna go my original plan over the top of the mountain back, or if I just need to go the road all the way back. It's a long route either way. Over the top of the mountain's actually shorter. It'll take me longer, more miles to go the road back. But I have to decide if it's worth there could be issues going over the mountain. It may become impassable. And I am not planning on camping out here. So, plus my wife would be freaking out if I didn't make it home before, or close to dark at least. So I figure I've got until 6:30 is 12 hours. Plan is to be back at my truck in 12 hours. So it's 10:19 a.m. Means I only got 2 more hours-ish before I got to make a decision. I've been going across country, but I'm getting close to the road. Right there at the base of that hill, that's where the wash goes through. That's where the road's at. So I'm kind of angling down towards that right now. All right, I hit the road about 100 yards or so back. Couldn't be soon enough. Got a little bit of a muscle pull coming, I think. Had to go over a fence. Stretched a little far up, and the top of my quad is really pulling, so. But got to push through, right? Keep going. This road makes things a lot easier now. I can find me a nice shady spot. I might sit for a little while. Take a good long break. I'm pretty tired. A lot more than I normally do on any given day. My age is showing right now. You think a mile or 2 miles every day, 30 pounds would prepare you for something a little bit longer, but I guess you gotta actually do it. So I'll have to do more of these 45-pound long trips. That little muscle pull is not feeling great though. I don't know if I stop and sit for a while, if it's gonna make it worse. It's gonna get really locked up, or if I need to relax it a little bit. We will see. There's some bigger trees and down in this valley, but nowhere convenient to just stop and sit. It's also getting a lot hotter too. Don't know what the temperature is since I don't have any service or anything, so. But it's gotta be in the 80s right now. So I made it just about to or a little past the 5-mile mark. I kept pushing a little bit further. I seen these big oak trees down here, and I was hoping there'd be somewhere I could get under one, and this one was ideal. It's just right off the road. Didn't have to go far. Creek's right there. No water in it. It's just dry creek. So I stopped. It was kind of hard getting here too. Fortunately, I pulled a little bit of a muscle up in my upper quad. Ooh, it's really hurting. So I'm only at the 5-mile mark. I've got, oh yeah, when I got here, I laid down just exhausted. I actually slept for like 20 minutes or so. I ended up taking a little nap, just conked right out. So, but feel good now. Got a little nap. Legs a little bit sore, not bad. I'm ready to probably move on again. Got to make a decision on time though. It's now 12:15. And I need to be turning around or heading back at the 1 o'clock at the latest, so I can make it back to my truck. I think I'm against going over the hill. That's just not going to make it. Plus, I don't think I can actually get all the way up there. And then, so I'd have to get up there in like 45 minutes. That's not going to happen. I'm probably I don't know, I'm going to say it's a mile and a half to get up to the top of the mountain. And that's all uphill. It's pretty steep uphill too. So I am not going to make my original plan. I've got, 5 miles in. I still got to turn around and go 5 miles back. So I'm still going to have a 10-mile hike. But just not going to get to do the over the mountain. It's kind of disappointing. I wanted to do that, but I'm not going to be able to push that one today. I guess I needed to go a little smaller chunk instead of 2 miles per day, then 15 miles, and then over a mountain range, right? So, yeah. And this, I don't know, I think the leg might be okay, but once I get the weight on and I get all that weight on my back, boy, this thing just instantly. I've stopped a couple times and just sat there and leaned over and took the weight and let it balance on my back, and then I was like, oh, the pain just goes right away. So it's probably going to come back, but whatever. I don't mind a little bit of pain. I just can't get in a spot where I get hurt or pull a muscle, and then I got a limp or something. So I'm going to be heading back here pretty soon. I think I'm just going to hang out here. I drank most of this water. I got half of another one there. So I'm already out. Oh, that's the other thing. I've already depleted of my drinking bottles that I brought. I've already drank 3/4 of them, maybe 2/3. So yeah, but I also could lessen my pack weight, but can't leave anything behind. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But the whole reason I did this is partially because I hike, I ruck every day, and I need to push myself further. I need to do more. But also, in about 8 o'clock tonight, flashback 4 years ago, so 2021, September 1st, 8 o'clock at night, was the last of about 2 years straight that I spent with my dad every day. My dad, he was my best friend. He was my role model. He was everything that I have tried to be my whole life. He was the best dad. My mom was a wonderful mom. I was so blessed to have 2 fantastic parents. I mean, so many people are not. I mean, I'm super blessed. They raised me knowing what was good, what was bad, what was right, what was wrong, to believe in God, to help other people. My mom got cancer in about 2012 or 13, and she fought it, had surgery. It was colon cancer, had it removed, but they didn't get it all, and so she didn't want to do any chemotherapy. We had a family member who had gone through a lot, a young boy who had brain cancer, and she didn't want to do it because it's hard, like a lot of you know. So she didn't. She just fought it. He went all natural, did great, 5 years basically, and then it just got to be too much. And then towards the end, she was looking for pretty good painkillers. She was on medications. They made her loopy, so she didn't like them. But she finally passed away in December of 2017. And of course, I miss her. But my dad, and they were married for, at that time, they had been married for 45 years, I think, somewhere around there. And that was, they were everything to each other. I mean, they still held hands walking into the grocery store, So all the way up till the end, and my dad was just right there beside her. And she had a pretty rough. She went fairly quickly, but it was hard. It was really hard. Things just got bad. So my dad, oh my gosh, he was just devastated. And so then after that, it was mostly just he and I, and I spent a lot of time with him right after that, and then not as much whenever after some time he got a little more okay with it. Not good, but okay. And but I spent a lot of time with him, just not every day. And then, but that was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So that was 4 years. Basically from that 2 year prior his passing was when he just didn't want to be here anymore. He loved me and my wife and my daughters, and just, was devout and going to church and loved the people there, and he gave, and he still worked, but he just couldn't continue on and just didn't have the heart to go. So I just kind of changed things up. I had been contracting, working with him, and took over his business back in 2020, or before that, excuse me, like 2018. Basically, after my mom passed away, he just couldn't do much anymore. And then I took over running his construction company. And then we finished a big job in March of 2020. We finished a pretty good size commercial job. And then everyone knows what happened right after that, right? The whole world shut down. And so it was good timing for us. We just finished a really good job. I'm like, I have got money in the bank, so I don't have to work. And I'm just going to spend time with my dad. And I did spend time with him every day. I'm so blessed to have such a loving and great wife and 2 daughters. They just understood. I didn't have dinner with them very rarely. I ate dinner with my dad, and then we sat and we watched TV for a few hours until he was tired, and then he went to bed, and then I went home and I went to bed. Maybe once a month I got to spend and have a dinner with my wife and daughters, but that's okay. It was great. I do not regret at all. And then when work came around, I needed to be working again. That job wasn't so big to last forever. I started back into it, I didn't get started back into construction. I was raised, my dad had raised me going to auctions. We went to these government auctions, what they called the DMRO. They were all the equipment that they would dispose of from the federal government. Equipment and supplies and paint and you name it. You can go out there right now. You can go to the auctions.gov, I think is where they currently sell. Most people know about them nowadays. But when I was a kid, this is in around 1980, I was going with my dad, and these were live in person, stand up. There was an auctioneer calling it all, and we had a 45-foot flatbed trailer and load that thing with all kinds of stuff. And my dad sold stuff on the side while he was a contractor for all those times. So because of that, I was raised going to auctions. And he and I would go to auctions just for fun. And we would, but I got more into a little more serious, and that's how I began making a living because I didn't really want to go back into doing construction. Mostly I've bought and sold stuff for all this time. And that allowed me the freedom to be able to work from home, be there. I just couldn't travel to get stuff like I used to. If I needed to travel, I'd leave early in the morning. And there's 2 hummingbirds like chasing each other right now. Let me see if I can catch them on here. This is the time of the year when hummingbirds are migrating. They're gone. Shoot. There was 2 of them. They just landed on that bush right there. They were like tweeting at each other and going in at each other and chasing. And it doesn't look like they're going to come back right now. I put up a hummingbird feeder out of our house. Every morning I go sit outside. I usually sit outside and watch the sunrise come up over the mountains. And right now the hummingbirds will come through. So they come zipping around and they'll come and feed from that bird feeder. My wife was just telling me, maybe you guys have seen it, somebody makes this little flower thing with a little cup in it, and you put some of the hummingbird feeder red stuff in it, and you put it on your hand and you hold it up, and it looks like a flower, and it's got a feeder thing in the center. And a friend of my wife, she posted it somewhere online, and it's like, that was amazing. Hummingbird sitting there just right there on her hand feeding. Like, we got to find those. That sounds so cool, But anyway, so my dad, I got to stay at home with him, which is fantastic. I got to spend every single day. I was given the privilege to spend every single day, every single one of my dad's last 2 years of life I spent with him. And all the way up to the point where he wasn't ill. He didn't really have any medical issues. He had diabetes. He took high blood pressure medicine. That was basically it. He wasn't insulin dependent, so he just took a pill, and he loved sweets like I did, and hard to get him off sugars and stuff. And there towards the end, I just kind of let him have what he wants, right? He'd spent his whole life and trying to tell him he can't eat a little sweets here and there, but anyways, he was okay. He and I, we'd go every weekend. We'd go to some yard sales. We'd go to some swap meets, because when you go to those auctions and you spend your time doing that kind of stuff, it's like, you guys have seen American Pickers, right? It is addicting, right? There's just all this cool stuff you see, and oh, look at that pot, whatever. My dad, I'd be on him. I'd be like, he'd pick up some little glass dish and he'd buy this thing for $1 like, what are you gonna do with that? He'd say, oh, this lady at church really likes these things, and I'm just gonna give it to her. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right, Dad, you buy all this stuff like that you want. And we have so much stuff. My dad had acres of property. There's still little roads through some of that acreage where there's still stuff left from all those military days. There's old airplane canopies still sitting out there. There's so much stuff. But he's got a big steel building, which is mine, and it's still full of stuff. He had a 3-story old building, used to be a truck stop in our little town, and it's still full of stuff. Of course, my uncle was just like him. They both bought stuff all the time. They collected everything. The two of them were raised wonderful, had great loving. Their mom was great and loving. They didn't have a dad. Dad left when he was real young, but their grandfather was their father figure, and he was an amazing guy, and raised them right. And they had everything they needed. They were loved and cared for, but boy, they were poor. They just didn't have anything but what they could figure out. So as they got older and they started making money, they bought everything. They collected everything. And my dad would always buy stuff. He'd pick up the little Stanley wood planes, little, it has a blade in it. It's a flat steel base, and you would set the blade and you move it across a piece of wood and you could carve little slices off. It's called a wood plane, if you're unfamiliar with it. My dad loved those things. I have, 200 of them maybe. Some of them really collectible. Others are just $5 old wood planes. But he would buy another one. He'd pick us up, and I'd see him over there at the swap meet. He's paying somebody $5 or $10 for one, and he'd tell me all the time. He's like, someday you're going to have a lot of wood planes to deal with. And I'm like, yeah, I am, but that's okay. It keeps you happy. But that's the only thing. That's what brought my dad joy, and to do stuff with my wife and my daughters. He loved my girls, and they'd go and sit over there, and they'd all come over and watch TV with us and eat dinner with us at least once a week. So, but he missed my mom. He was his soulmate. His soulmate was gone, and it's different. It's so. So anyways, last 2 years, he finally started having some kidney issues in relation to all the drugs that he took for his other side effects, right? Side effects from the other meds. And in June of 2021, he was doing okay. I hired a lady to stay with him during the daytime so I could go and work. And then the 1st of June, that was right when my youngest daughter had just graduated from high school. And we took her and a few of her friends we took them all to Orlando. And we went to Universal Studios and didn't go to Disney. They decided to go to Universal Studios. So we took them all out there. And while we were gone on that trip, my dad got sick. And I almost had to fly home. Almost did. Not had to, but I just needed to be back with my dad. But lady that I hired, and she was great, wonderful lady. Her husband used to work for my dad, so they were close, and we knew him for years and years. I knew them since the mid-90s probably, but she's like, no, he's okay. They got him to the emergency room, and he just hadn't been drinking quite enough. He was a little dehydrated, and something he had eaten didn't set well. But he was okay. And so they convinced me, don't fly home and leave. I would have to let off my wife and the girls and their friends all out there, and let them come home on their own. But I stayed. It was just like 3 more days. So we made it home. From that point on, though, things started changing. Boy, he started going downhill. And he didn't really have any particular issues that we knew of. We had all kinds of tests, and he'd had some little episodes here and there, but nothing ever really showed up from it. But long story short, he's ended up having kidney issues. So I took care of him at a point, and probably about July, sometime in July, early July, he turned 83, the 1st of July, and I moved in full time. So instead of going home at night, I'd sleep in that recliner, because there was a point where he wasn't able to do much on his own, and I kind of had to care for him at night too, and help him, with that type stuff. And I'd sleep until I'd get up at 6 or so in the morning, get him all cleaned up if he had any issues during the night. And then the lady that came, she'd be there at 8 in the morning, and I'd take off. I'd go home and shower and go do the work I needed to. And then I'd be back there by 5, and she'd go home, and I'd take over the night shift. And then we did that for a while, until there was a point where I stopped leaving during the daytime, because he was just really going down, and his kidney function was starting to slip. And then that turned out that was that was the issue. And his kidneys were starting to shut down. And so September 1st, so that was July, August. So it didn't take long, but September 1st, about 8 o'clock in the evening, I had been sitting there with him for probably, I don't know, a few hours. I felt it. He didn't have a lot to say there towards the end, so he didn't tell us anything. He would say something occasionally, or tell you yes, or he'd still say thank you. We'd bring him something to eat. At this point, I was kind of we were feeding him, and stayed at home. No hospital. He's like, please just let me stay at home the rest of my days. And I said, Dad, I will make sure it happens. And I just felt that night, I'm like, I don't know. Nothing was any different. Fed him. But no, I guess it was a little different. The night before that, he didn't have a lot of kidney. He didn't have a lot out. Not much urine. So then I guess it was a little bit different. But that's the only real difference. He didn't act any different, but just like, there's something wrong. So I just sat there with him, held his hand, and got to be there. I was blessed to be sitting there, holding his hand when he took his last breath. To go on to be with his wife, with my mom. And immediately after, I felt calmed. I felt like he's not fighting anymore, and not for me. I was blessed to be there. They didn't want him to go. But And Cheryl, who had stayed with him during the daytime, she stayed that whole evening. She didn't go home at 5. She usually would go home at 5, and she's like, I'm just gonna stay this evening. She knew it too. She stayed, so she was there for me. And super blessed. One of the great things about living in a small town, in a small community, is we had hospice there. Hospice would come in and help. And what they do is they'd come in and they'd bathe him, sponge bath, I think 3 days a week. A nurse would come in, check all of his vitals, go over everything. Any questions were just right there. Just services provided. That doesn't cost anything. They're just there. Such wonderful people. One of them, she had told me, she's like, well, just, when that time does come, just give us a call, let us know. So called, said, he just passed. It's like, okay, I'll be there, and then I'll have one of the other hospice ladies, the one that did the bathing and whatnot. They'd both be there, and then I called in the small town where I live, the mortician does all of the takes care of all of the deceased people here. He owns the funeral home. He digs the graves, the final services for the person, if you wish him to. He has his own facility there for people to come to. He's also the mortician. He is also the coroner. So he does all of these things. Amazing guy. And he would be out at some accident on the highway at 2 a.m. and then someone like my dad passes, and then he would be right over there. So he came a little bit later. The 2 hospice ladies, they showed up. They were there within 30 minutes. They were there so fast. The one named Shawnee, she's such a fantastic lady. She's just like, don't worry about anything. I'm just gonna get him all cleaned up, and he's gonna be all fresh. And she went and cleaned him, bathed him, gave him just like all the other days before. Clean clothes, clean everything, washed him, just. And then a couple hours later, the mortician showed up with his son, who also works with the business. And he came in, and they took him away, and he was gone. But today's the day, 4 years ago, that my dad left. He went on home, that's where he went. He didn't just leave. So I wanted to make a good long trek today, a good long ruck, and just to start extending what I do. I have been rucking for a year now. Started out I've always been one to do hikes and stuff, but I didn't do it on a daily basis. I'm like, I'm going to start walking every day. And then it wasn't long after I started that, I heard about rucking. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, throw a backpack on. And so I started rucking. And I've just been moving up, and I'm working so hard to be healthy, to eat good. Still love sweets, still love to eat that stuff. And I still have it a little bit occasionally, but I'm pretty healthy. I have a disease, unfortunately. So I've had it for 9 years. Pretty rare disease. It's called achalasia. And it's basically, so at the bottom of your esophagus, when you swallow, there is a sphincter muscle that stays tight closed. And then when you swallow, there's a neurological signal that tells it to relax. And it opens up and everything goes in your stomach. Well, mine doesn't do that right. And all the other people who also have achalasia, it doesn't work right. Some people have it much worse than me, and theirs does not open at all. So if they want anything, food, water, anything to go in, they have to have a surgery, and they basically cut the muscles next to that, and they weaken it. So it sort of holds open somewhat. There's a few other things they can do. They can do Botox injections. They can they can put a balloon in there and dilate it and try to stretch it out. And I was having issues, and I'm like, man, things are kind of coming up. I'm like, what have I got? I don't know what it is. And I got GERD. I have acid reflux. It hurts, but having a hard time getting things down. And then occasionally I'd get this really intense chest pain. And it just like hurt so bad. And I'm like, I was doing, during my days of doing, I was a home theater contractor for about 9 years. And I was at a doctor's house putting in some Bose equipment at his house. And I'm standing there, I was talking to him, and all of a sudden that thing hit me, and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I get this chest pain. He's like, you're having a heart attack. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. It happens, but I kind of have this swallowing issue. And he's like, you need to go to the hospital. You're having a heart attack. So I'm like, all right, I'll go. So I left all my stuff, headed down the road. I was only like 10 minutes away from this hospital. Went down there, emergency room. And by the time I waited in the emergency room for an hour, 45 minutes, I'm coming in, I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack. It still took me 45 minutes to get in. By that time, it's all gone. I'm like, the pain's gone. And they did all the scans. They did everything. They're like, no, EKGs, all that. No signs of heart attack. You seem to be real healthy and I don't find any problems with you. He's like, if you're having some swallowing issues, you might look for a gastroenterologist and see, if you got something up. I'm like, okay. So I did. I found one. Got scheduled, got in there, and he's like, okay, we'll do a scope. I told him the symptoms. Okay, so about a month later, go in, he does a scope. I wake up, I'm kind of, blurry-eyed. I come up, I've just been under drugs, and I'm opening my eyes, and he's all patting me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, congratulations, like I just won something. And he says, you are the first person I've ever seen. He's like, I've been a gastroenterologist for 26 years. The first person with achalasia I've ever seen. And I'm like, I don't know what's achalasia. He's like, yeah, it's super rare. You don't hear about it hardly at all. And he told me what it was, and he showed me the video of water. And I had been under instruction not to eat or drink anything since midnight the night before, right? I still had water sitting in the bottom of my esophagus. And he showed me videos like, yeah, as soon as I got down there, I seen that water just sitting there. He's like, oh, this isn't right. So I have a very mild form of it, or a very low level. I have found that if I don't eat really thick, big chunks of stuff, like I have kind of hard times with steak, and if I do lots of liquidy things, I can get by. And I've just learned how to eat. I haven't had the surgery. Once you have the surgery, it's non-reversible. So I'm like, you know what? I know that so much in life is dependent on what we eat and on our diet and on our exercise. And I'm like, if I can just start putting the right things in my body and stop doing the wrong things, maybe I can make this go away. There's no cure for it. Nobody's ever done this. I'm like, I believe I can do it. So it's been 9 years though. And what I found is that if I'm eating well, like not eating breads and cakes and all that stuff that I really like, when I eat that stuff, I have a hard time. When I'm not eating that stuff, it goes down a little bit easier. And I can deal with it a little bit better. I still deal with it. It's not gone. But anyway, so I've been on a quest to be healthy. 52, like I was just saying earlier, I'm trying to work hard at being healthy. And I like the idea of rucking. And you say, well, what's so special about rucking? If you guys haven't seen much about it, basically you carry weight on your skeletal frame, and a bunch of things happen that don't happen if you're just walking or just hiking. First off, just walking flat, you burn about 3 times more calories walking than with a backpack on with weight in it than you do without one. You also, it's like weightlifting, you actually build muscle. So because it creates a resistance that you didn't have there before. It also increases your bone density. So, which gets to be really important, especially if you're older, even older than me, or you should be in this age frame, 40s, you should be actively trying to increase your bone density. What happens a lot to older people is that they fall and break a bone. Or I've heard said more recently that there's a good chance that a lot of times it's a fracture that happens in an old person's hip or whatever. The fracture happens then they fall down. So rucking makes you stronger. You can literally live longer by just carrying around some weight in a backpack and go walking. And then you go and challenge yourself and you go like this, where we're going up hills and valleys and you're increasing your heart rate even more. Then you're taking it to a whole new level. You know, you're doing more than triple your calorie burn. You're going up into a higher heart rate, into zone 3. You're making things really difficult. And then you can add more weight to it to make it more difficult. So I just started putting whatever heavy crap I could find. When I first started, I had like a 10-pound bag of sugar out of my wife's pantry. I put a 10-pound bag of sugar in there. And then it didn't even dawn on me at the time. I'm like, we got weights. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to put dumbbells in there because that wouldn't fit right. It would feel horrible. Then I thought, oh, I could put a plate. So I put a 25-pound flat, like Olympic sized plate in there. I'm like, oh, this works really well. It's flat, not super comfortable, but it's flat, it's super hard steel, and 25 pounds. Okay, that works well. And I'm like, oh, let's go up. And then when I needed to go up in weight, I put a 33 in there. The 33, unfortunately, just barely would fit in the one backpack that I was using. So I had to use this other backpack, and then I just didn't like it. The backpack just didn't work as well. And like, well, this kind of sucks. So I ended up taking that one back out. I moved back to the first backpack, which I liked better. And I put a 25-pound in there, and then I had just a 5-pound plate next to it. So I'm like, oh, 30 pounds. I'm like, well, 30 pounds seems to be just about right. So I'm like, okay. But there's got to be, I don't know, there's got to be an easier way than doing this. Then I found there's a rucking company out there. Maybe some of you guys have already seen it. It's called Ruck. And they make formed steel plates that you can put the kind of handle in. They slide down into a compartment in the backpack. Super expensive. And then you got this one steel plate. And I'm like, all right, well, this could work. I don't mind. I mean, I'll spend a little bit of money if I have to be healthier, right? And to make me do it. And I'm like, you know what? I just keep feeling like still got to be an easier way. And then what about the other people? A lot of people are not going to go out there and buy a $450 backpack. And then what if they get the wrong size steel plate? I've seen people on YouTube who buy like these weighted vests. And often it happens with like a lady or a female. She's like, oh, I bought a 30-pound weighted vest. And they're like, they buy it, they put it on. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so heavy. I think I made a big mistake. And they're like, okay, so I returned that one and I bought a 15-pound or I bought a 10-pound. Oh, this is so much better. And then maybe I need to graduate. So I also bought it. I'm like, they got like 4 weighted vests. And then I have seen some that have like these little weight things that go in them. Okay, that works good. So I'm like, well, what about, you need a way to adjust the weight in it. And you need to be able to adjust it easily. So I started going on a quest and I'm like, I got to figure this out because people, yeah, I can just put a steel plate in mine and I'm okay doing that. But what about other people? My wife, she doesn't want to carry that much weight. She needs something lighter and to start at least. And so I'm like, well, what if you have just a big old bag in there and you put water in it? But I'm like, that's got to be huge, right? Like, well, but then how do you get it to fit? You got to have just the right size backpack. And is it going to slosh around in there? I'm like, all these questions. So I think, well, let's start engineering it, right? I'm a smart guy, I think, and I can try to do this. So maybe if I can make something that people would like, that would be easy to use, that maybe be a good product. So I started designing something. I'm like, okay, well, I took a backpack that I had. I'm like, okay, well, if this is the width inside, and if it had this much height in it, then how much water could I fit in there? I'm like, it's got to hold like 25 or 30 pounds, right? I'm like, that's a lot of water. It actually happens to be about 3.7 gallons of water. Yeah. So I kept moving forward. I had drawings made some drawings. I talked with manufacturers. I've spent, long story, still a long story, but a little bit shortened. I had a water bladder made. And all along the way, I'm like, well, I need to have a backpack that's going to fit it. That's my own backpack. So I had a backpack made. And it all just came about just in this last week. I finally got my second sample of the bladder. I got my second sample of a backpack, custom made just for me by my own specs. And that's what I've been wearing today, is my own bladder, or a backpack with my own bladder in it. So let's check this out. All right, let's see if I can get my knee out of the way. Is this like the worst way to do a first product demo or what? I don't know, but okay, let's see here. By the way, this is the first time the world's ever seen it. So tell me in the comments what you think. Let me show it to you. So here is my backpack. Oh, and it is heavy, and it does weigh well with this water, that water. A couple little things I have in there. There's some bars, and there's I got my first aid kit is on there. And I did go with like Molly webbing on here because I'm like, well, I want to be able to put something on there, maybe on the side. So I got Molly webbing, and it's being well broken in today too because it's dirty. So there's that. It's got compartments. I've got flashlights, and I've got extra battery and fire starter and all my safety stuff. I've been holding, here's my battery unit to recharge my camera, which I better plug in here real quick. Hold on a second. Okay. Is that real enough to see? Okay. All right. Here's my product demo in the middle of the mountains under an oak tree. How's that for product demos? Okay. So there's that. I'm not going to take it off, but I'm just going to open this guy up. So I designed this thing. There is another pack that I've seen multiple packs that had some similar features that I liked, and I'm like, well, I need one that's specifically for what I need, and here's what I came up with. So let's open this up. Oh, I got a jacket in here. There was a little bit of chance of rain. I thought I better bring a jacket, and there's for my camera, and if you can see it there, this is my water, and I got gloves in there, and there it is, my water bladder. So it's completely full. Right now it's full because it's at maximum capacity. Here, let's do this here. So I built in weight markings on the side. So you can fill it up with either 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15, 20, 25, or 30 pounds. So depending on how much water you put in it, determines how much weight it has. So now you just put this thing in your sink. You fill it up to the line. You're starting out. You're just getting into rucking. Let's just try 5 pounds in there. Let's start at 5, okay? Put it in there. You fill it up to the 5 pound mark. Squish all the air out of it. Put the lid back on it. You got 5 pounds, and it's water. And you can actually, this is a regular, same material. It's called TPU. It's the same material that your Camelback bladders are made out of. This is food grade. You can open this thing up and drink the water out of it. You put clean water in it, you can drink the clean water back out of it. So yeah, and this is me. So I thought, well, I need a name for this business. And so I got out, started searching online to see what there was for domains. And what do you know? Tuff Rucker is available. So I now am the sole owner, president, CEO, and all the other stuff of Tuff Rucker. And I own tuffrucker.com. And by the time this video goes out, Tuff Rucker will be live. And you can actually get one, except I don't think I'm going to sell them. Yep, that's right. I don't think I'm going to sell them. I think I'm going to give them away. Not totally give them away for free, but of course, I'm out here by myself right now, right? And I'm cool with this. This has been my little sojourn thing, my I forget, what was that Japanese term name? I've even forgotten what that's called. I'm doing my thing today on my own, no phone, nothing in my ears, no music, no podcast, no YouTube, just watching the birds, mostly just listening to myself huff and puff because I'm huffing and puffing a lot. But you know what's best about rucking, about doing this stuff, is doing it with your friends, doing it with other people. Because what it does is it motivates you to get out and go do it and do it some more and do it again tomorrow. And I've had different motivations, so not everybody needs that. But I think having a community of people that want to be healthier, that want to be around other people who want to be healthier, that want to just live a better life, that want to be stronger, that I've had this saying in my head, maybe it fits, you can tell me, live long, live strong, carry weight. Or is it corny? Does that sound corny? Tell me if you think that's corny. I'm looking for like a tagline. I'm just not very good at that stuff. And you can ask ChatGPT this stuff and it comes up with all kinds of great stuff, or Grok. But I don't know. We'll see. You guys can put your suggestions, what you think a tagline should be, but not all that important, right? What's important is it's there. So I built a website, but I also started a community. And if you spend any time out on YouTube, you may have heard of some communities. Alex Hormozy is owner of a platform called School. And so I've used the school.com platform to build a community. And I created the Tuff Ruckers community. And the community is just for people to get together. I've built a calendar in there. There's maps, meetup, and the whole idea is for people, no matter where you're at, United States, outside the US, really doesn't make any difference. You just want to get together and go hike and go ruck with other people who are like-minded, people that you're going to get along with. And so instead of selling these packs, I don't know, at least for now, I think I'm going to give one away. If you want to join the community, it's not a free community. You have to pay. The reason you have to pay is because when you pay for something, you feel like, I got to use it now because I paid for it. If it's free, it's like, some free thing. It doesn't really matter that much. But when you pay for something, you kind of feel committed to do it, to use it. But again, it's the idea of getting you out and giving you some motivation to go and do it. And I'm just going to start spending my time going out to places like this. And I'm going to go rucking trips on my own or with other groups. And I'm just going to keep filming them. I'm going to make rucking content all the time. I don't think we have enough rucking content on YouTube. I've looked. There's just not a lot of it out there. So I'm hopefully going to become a good source for rucking content. I'm going to do videos of the cool scenery and travel around the US, maybe meet up with other people and go on group rucking. And I don't mind talking to the camera. So maybe this is what I'm going to do. I'm old. I'm old. My daughters think I'm old. So I don't really get embarrassed. So, I'm not going to do embarrassing thing. I'm not going to run without pants on or something like that. I'll keep my pants on. Okay. But, I want people to watch my videos. Okay. So yeah, this is probably a really long video, and I'm sure that, my leg's cramping. Oh, that muscle. I'm sorry. But I hope that enough of you see this and you'll want to join a rucking community and you'll want to do all the great things that I've mentioned, 3 times the calorie burn, lose some weight if that's what your goal is. If you just want to be healthier in general, that's your goal. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. It's great. If you're older and you want to start building that bone density, increasing that's pretty crucial. And anybody at any age can do this. You need to be starting it by the time you're 30, 40, the latest. But I don't care if you're 70, right? you know, your doctor and everybody tells you, get out and walk. Well, just put the pack on and carry 5 pounds. It's going to do you better if you're 70 or 80 years old. You just keep moving. Keep moving. That's what you got to do. And stop putting junk in your mouth. That's the other part. But I still got 5 miles to go back again. I think I'm kind of killing time. I've probably been here for like an hour, hour and a half. As soon as I stop videoing, then I got to go hike again. But it's cool. But you know what's one cool thing about having water for your weight? You can dump it out on the ground. So I don't have to carry. So that bladder holds 30 pounds. And my total weight pack, total everything was 45 when I left this morning. It's crazy. I can dump the whole thing out on the ground and then I've already drank part of my water. I can be going back with 10 pounds, 15 pounds. Or I can cut it down by half. Kind of thinking that I might go ahead and dump out half of it. So I might drop down like 15 pounds. I might pour some of it into my water bottle so that it's easier to drink out of, and just start heading back. So I've loved getting to do this. I've loved getting to, I say chat with you. I guess chat at you. I'm chatting at you and I'm imagining that you're replying back. If you reply back in the replies, or what do they call it, in the comments, comment below. And I don't care if you do all that stuff. Comment, subscribe. I don't really care. I just would like for people to get together, community a little bit more, and be happier. The world would be so much happier if we just kind of loved each other. And I mean, I'm not a pacifist or anything, but so much of our problems could go away if we were just friendly to everybody. When you pull up and get gas at the gas station, that other person pulls up, say, hi, how are you doing? How's your day? I like your shirt, whatever. And you'll be amazed at people. I grew up in a small town. I've been doing that my whole life. That's the way I was raised. And I still do it. I pull up and I say hello to somebody across, and every time I strike up a conversation. It doesn't matter where they're from. I remember one time I had a guy, I don't know, he was from back east somewhere. I'm going to say he's from New York. And I'm in Arizona, and he's just passing through, going to California or back, I don't know. And I say, well, how's your day going? And he looks at me. He doesn't say anything for a minute. And he's like, it's going all right. I'm like, good. And I'm like, where are you going to? Do you live around here? And he's like, no, I live in New York, or I think it was New York. This is years ago. Like, oh, okay, you're heading out. I'm just going out. And then he started opening up a little more. He started telling me about where he was going in California. He's like, yeah, I've got a friend in California that we used to go to college together. I'm going to go out and see that person. And I'm like, oh, cool. What do you do in New York? He told me what he did. Don't even remember. And I said, okay, well, you have a good trip. And he's like, thanks a lot. You do too. And he changed so much from the opening to the end. He was not the same person. And all I did was say, hi, how are you doing? How's your day going? And you know what? You have to honestly mean it. You actually have to say, how are you today? And you want to get a reply back. You don't say, hi, how are you doing? Oh, yeah, my daughter. Okay, yeah, I don't want to hear that. No, you got to care about people, and you just got to say, well, great. Well, and then, well, I hope you have a blessed trip, and you take care and be safe. And so that's what I'm going to tell you guys too. Take care, be safe. But this isn't over. I might, don't leave yet. There's probably more video. I don't know. We'll see if I find something more to record between here and the next 5 miles back. I'm hoping to see something cool, like, because so many people like javelina. If I don't see one today, I'll post some javelina in here so you can see them. They're little demon creatures, but they kind of look like pigs, but they're actually in they're more related to a rat than they are a pig. And that's what they taste like too. Because there's a hunting season here, you can hunt them. And I hate it. I've hunted them once. They don't taste good. But so many people have not seen the Southwest. My wife has a friend who she lives in Tennessee. And at one time, she asked if she could get her and ship to her a tumbleweed. And if you don't live here, then
that might sound interesting and really cool, but they're a weed and they just grow out of the ground and then they die. And then when they die, they don't just disintegrate. They just kind of grow in this little ball shaped, and then the wind blows and they tumble, tumbling tumbleweeds. And then they all stick up against a fence, and they're all full of these little tiny stickers. A lot of stuff here has stickers, thorns, cat claws. Southwest is very much like Australia in sorts. All kinds of things are, instead of everything trying to kill you, everything here is trying to poke you. Everything is sharp or scratchy, and then there's the snakes, but we don't have like Australia snakes. But anyways, tumbleweeds sound cool. She wanted one to put up and make into a decoration. And I'm like, wow, what a great business. People would actually buy a tumbleweed? Wow, that's a good idea. Maybe we need to package tumbleweeds and sell them to people that aren't in the Southwest that think tumbleweeds are amazing. So anyways, a little rant on tumbleweeds. Okay, I'm going to show you some more video of walking and hills and pokey things.
Ooh, let me tell you. So I ended up dropping out 15 pounds, not gallons. So I dropped half of the weight of the bladder. So now I lowered it to the 15-pound mark. Just going from 30 to 15 in that bladder. Whoa, what a difference that made. Of course, having an hour-ish, hour and a half, I don't know, long break and taking a nap, that might have helped too. My leg is still a little tweaking. It's not the best, but I feel good about this decision, heading back. But yeah, boy, this makes all the difference. Of course, I've drank a lot of my water, my drinking water, that's diminished. I ate one little protein bar, that didn't weigh much, 8 ounces, but still, so my pack has dropped in weight a lot. But yeah, getting rid of half of the water, that's where I think it's awesome, because being able to go out and say, okay, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do 30 pounds, and you're gonna have extra stuff too, and then just not be able to do it and say, okay, I did 30 on my way out, on the way home I'm doing 0, or I'm doing 5 or 15, whatever. Where if you've got steel plates or some other solid thing, I'm not gonna go off and leave it behind. Like, yeah, you just be throwing money away. You leave some steel plates out on the ground. Of course, then you gotta push yourself to get back. But I'm not a ultra marathon dude. I'm not Jocko, not an ex-Navy SEAL. Those dudes are awesome. Frickin' wow. Just wow guys, man. But that's not me. That's not most people. We need something to make us be a little healthier and help us get along. And if I can do half my trip at full weight, and if I'm not feeling it, and I need to dump that out, lessen it, then there you go. Let's drop that weight down. So it really made a big difference. It's like, it's almost not like well, it's 15 pounds, right? But still, it's so different. That's all I can say. It's really gonna make it. Of course, I'm only like, I think I've gone a quarter mile since I left that tree. I'm starting out again. And I'm climbing a little hill right now. But anyways, here, you wanna see some views? I don't think you wanna keep looking at my ugly noggin. It's cool rock formations up here. Some little darkness in some of these clouds. It said we were gonna be 92 degrees today, but it's only like a 15% chance of rain. Looks like we're gonna be the 15 and it's not 90. Hey, look at this big barrel cactus. Can you see it? These barrel cactuses are so cool. It's got flowers in it right now. I get closer, but this is hateful cat. This is why kitties are so ornery, because they have such terrible claws. There's a barrel cactus, pretty cool. Those flowers. It's gotten a little bit of moisture. The flowers don't open unless it rains some. Super cool, huh? All right. I'm gonna attempt to not get stabbed by another plant today. No guarantees. Let's look at this side. Pretty cool. There's those power lines. That's the new one. So those power lines, those are coming from a wind generation plant in eastern New Mexico, up near Ruidosa, New Mexico. There's a big wind generation station up there. And they're selling power to California from New Mexico. So those lines are going all the way to California. Not saying anything about California, but they're having to buy powers from other states. They've been doing it for a long time. They buy from the Arizona power generation companies, but I found there's a pretty windy place in New Mexico, and I guess there was enough money in it to be able to run transmission lines. Oh, I think I've heard that some of that was done through the previous administration's green energy bill. So a lot of those lines were paid for by us, by the federal taxpayers, to send power to California. That's okay, we all need it. Heading down in this little ravine here. It's actually a little steep. This wash. Oof. You're never gonna believe this. Watch this. This is crazy. It's more of the same. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, huh? Yep. More straight road. Oh, stay away from cat claw. Yeah, nothing too awesome here. I'm just still trugging along. That bedrock down there in that wash. There's some, we'll bet there's some gold in that stuff. Do you ever get stuck watching the gold panning YouTube channels? Man, they're awesome. Look at all that rock down there. So much gold has been brought out of these mountains. I'm sure there's got to be something in there. All that rock just traps all that gold. That's the one I was going to come down. When I talked to that rancher earlier today, told him I had planned on going around to the tank, coming back down that way. I said, but coming looking at it from this side, I thought that might be a bad idea. I don't think I can get down that. It's too steep. He said, yeah, he said on the back side, he could probably get down it and then come around. He's been up there. He's ranched this land for a long, long time, 15 or 20 years maybe. So, yeah, I am tired. So that's a good sight to see. That means I'm getting close. Probably a mile and a half, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna be ready to get to the truck. This 10 miles is plenty. A little bit of off-road, off-trail. Still a lot of climbing up and down. Wasn't anywhere near like climbing that big old monster, but It's all right. It's for a later day. Yeah, so I was thinking, mentioned if any of you know where I'm located at. If you figured out where it is, put it in the comments. And now that you know about Tuff Rucker, I'm going to give the first person in the comment list and the one that got the closest. So if anybody picks the exact place, then the first one to do it, I'm going to give them a lifetime free membership to Tuff Rucker, including a pack and bladder and all the things in the future that'll go along with it. Don't know what those will be. But free lifetime membership. Yeah, person who gets the closest and the first person that does it. So if you haven't tried to figure it out, then now is probably a good time, unless somebody else has already tagged it. But go ahead and put your, be cool to see how many people have an idea, or at least get close too. This hat looks goofy as heck, doesn't it? I just got it because I wanted a lightweight hat to keep the sun off me. I normally, if I'm walking, especially if it's late afternoon, evening, I don't wear a hat at all. And then when I do, I just wear a baseball cap. But I knew I was gonna be out here for 12 hours. I need to keep the sun off. I put on some sunscreen too, but I like to have real protection, so. But yeah, this is a goofy looking thing. Yeah, it does the job. It's really lightweight too. Yeah. Which when you're carrying all this other weight, it's nice not to be carrying something so heavy, at least riding on your head. I used to have one of those Crocodile Dundee style hats that I would wear. It had some nice brim. It's a good hat, but it's heavy, it's thick. It's like waterproof and I don't know, it can fly itself. I don't know, it does all kinds of stuff. Getting close. So there's the water tank. We're passing the windmill right now. In fact, the wind's blowing it, making it turn up there. Most of the ranchers don't use it. Ranchers, they have windmills. They've long since discontinued using them. They just put up a couple solar panels and a little electric pump. Does what they need. They don't need a lot of pressure, a lot of flow. They just need a constant stream. This rancher was telling me that this well here, it's only 65 feet deep. And it just barely puts out enough to fill that tank. And in the hardest, longest part of the summer, there's some big, oh shoot, a big dead diamondback rattlesnake right there. Ranchers will kill them every time because they'll get cattle. It's not real long, but boy, he's thick. Here I'm looking at the camera. Well, and then look, catch a glimpse of a snake right there in front of me, about jumped out of my boots. I've walked right past a bunch of them, nearly stepped on some, never struck at me. And then other times, be 20, 30 feet away from one, and it's just rattling like crazy. They're just trying to scare you away. Luckily, a lot of the ones I've came across have been during the winter. I've been hunting, and they're usually already just kind of out on the hillside trying to get some sunshine into them and warm up. Man, I keep looking at this goofy hat in my little screen. It's the stupidest looking thing. I look like a retarded pirate or something, right? If it would just stay down, but the wind's blowing. It looks kind of okay if it stays down. Kind of cool. No, it don't look cool. but the wind catches it and I look like a moron, but whatever, keeps the sun off me. So right there's a beautiful sight. You can see it. It's the corrals. I can see the rancher's truck, and oh, there on the right side is my truck. Oof, finally. Boy, long trip. Even walking on mostly good roads. All right, so I'm done. I'm back to the truck. How did I do today? What was my win failure ratio? So I set out to do 15 miles is what I thought, up and around, over the mountain, back to here. I did right at 9 miles. By the time I got back here, it was almost exactly 9 miles. So failed on the distance, yep. And I was gonna go over that mountain. I pretty much stayed low, did very little terrain. I think I gained, actually went up like almost 1,000 feet of elevation when I seen on my GPS, and then back down again. But that's gonna call that a failure too, because I was gonna conquer that mountain. That's not happening. And let's see, time-wise, I was gonna spend 12 hours with no phone, no other inputs, no other distractions. So I'm like 9.5 hours right now. I'm gonna call that one still a win, because I'm not gonna turn on my phone, I'm not gonna take calls, I'm not gonna listen to internet, to YouTube, to Spotify, to no podcasts. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. I'm just gonna go ahead and get on home, decompress a little bit, just go sit with my own thoughts, probably read the Bible a little bit, and then I'm gonna finish out my 12 hours. So I will definitely win in the 12-hour category. So thank you. You can do the regular stuff if you wanna subscribe. Cool, that's awesome. If you wanna click the link and go out to the Tuff Rucker community, check out our community, that'd be awesome. Website, tuffrucker.com, but at least the community. The community is the most important thing. And you guys all have a great day, and take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.